everybody, and welcome to a highlight video, kinda just gathering my thoughts on how I would balance the game. As we all know, the game has recently been patched 3 or 4 times by now, and maybe next time it will actually be a patch that changes the game in ways that we kinda notice. And that is kinda why I want to go over how I would balance the game for, what can you say, a modern game where the standard builds fills up everything. So I want to start with the Sorceress, so I'm just gonna go through the trees and then we'll kinda take it from there. I would love to always know your thoughts and comments, how you would balance the game, or if I'm completely wrong on something. Uh, I try to kinda be, focused on the main builds that I make and then kinda have thoughts around that. So yeah, let's start. Frozen armor, shiver armor, and chilling armor. They're all way too similar. Chilling armor should be something that completely freezes the target, maybe have some sort of frost nova effect. Shiver armor should be something that works kind of like the Diablo 3 ability cold sheet or whatever, basically something that freezes enemies around you and kind of does AoE damage, whereas chilling armor is obviously frozen nova. Frozen armor should just give a huge amount of defense and kind of work like the chilling armor. This needs to just get more defense, that's pretty much it. It doesn't need to be freezing or anything. Frozen Orb and Ice Bolt need to get more synergized. I feel like the Frozen Orb is just a little too weak. Blizzard needs to have no global cooldown. I'm really hating that you cast a Blizzard spell and then the global cooldown comes up. This just makes the spell so bad. The damage is there. This spell does a ton of damage compared to Frozen Orb, even with very few skills into it. So as you can see here, I have 43 skills here, plus almost, well, half maxed Ice Bolt, and it still doesn't even come close to the Blizzard damage with 24 points into it. Blizzard is such a good damage skill, it's just very annoying to use. So please no global cooldown so we can just spam Blizzard all day long. Would be a lot of fun, and I still don't think it would be too overpowered, because again, Blizzard doesn't stack, so casting 2 Blizzards on top of each other does not do more damage. This is just to get better AoE and safety. I would love to see all the Nova skills, maybe even stuff like Blaze and whatnot, but especially Nova, especially Frost Nova to be synergized with other skills that kind of make them better or give them really a huge boost. Because right now Frost Nova is only good for leveling at least. I feel like if there could be a buff to these single target ones here, that would be nice. I don't really care too much for them, but there's still a thing that needs to be buffed. Maybe just raw damage, because all the skills kind of does something different from the others. But for now, they're really not good at all compared to the later on skills, which is fine enough. It's just leveling skills pretty much, so maybe just more damage, that's pretty much it. Teleport, that is a skill that should probably cost more mana somehow. I feel like the mana cost is maybe a little too overpowered. Maybe we should even nerf teleport in just some ways, I'm not quite sure, but perhaps just more mana cost. I suppose the mana cost is already very high for low geared characters, which does make it seem kind of fine. Charge Ball should probably just be nerfed, considering it's the first tier talent. It's a little too good for bosses, and I also feel like it's very strong in AoE already, and considering it's the first tier, kinda like Ice Ball, it's probably a little too strong for boss damage. Lightning and Chain Lightning, those are totally fine, I like both skills. I do believe that Chain Lightning should do more damage compared to Lightning, but that's just me. The AoE, we can say the Chain Lightning here is just not worth it compared to Lightning, even on AoE situation. I feel like I rather just want to aim with Lightning than use Chain Lightning on AoE, because Lightning will always do that much more damage. So yeah, I feel like a little more damage on Chain Lightning and it's fine. Thunderstorm should get a huge buff. Either make it so that you can't stack armor spells, so you can't both have, say, Shiver armor and Thunderstorm up at the same time or something, but basically make this spell overpowered. Let it be able to hit, every single mob within, I don't know, 10 yards or something like that. Or maybe let it hit all mobs that hit you, but then for a lot of damage. The Lightning Master, Fire and Cold are all fine. They work very good to synergize weak abilities, but also make even strong abilities very good. So that's fine. Static Fields should definitely be nerfed. I feel like it's way too overpowered for specific things like bosses, but I can see why it's very good for low budget characters, so maybe it should stay there, but perhaps it should cost a lot more mana. The radius should be a lot smaller, so it's a risk ability. You have to get a lot closer to the enemy, and so forth. Nova should definitely probably cost a bit less mana and give more damage as well. It should be probably as good as Chain Lightning on single target, because right now Nova is very good for AoE, but the single target is lagging quite a bit. So I feel like Nova should do more damage and cost less mana, but that's just me. So let's take Fire. Worm should probably give a little less mana, uh, for just +1 wonder. I feel like this is one of the strongest guilds that are +1 wonders. So like you put one skill into it and it just gives so much mana. I'm just gonna uh, quickly burn some mana with, yeah, lightning. So as you can see here, my mana is barely going down, and this is just with one skill into Worm. I don't. Okay, I do have Mage Feast as well, which helps on the regen, but that's pretty much it. Feel like Wormed is a little too overpowered, but I will say that Wormed is very not overpowered when if you're burning a lot of mana with Energy Shield. But again, Wormed also just makes Energy Shield builds even better. So perhaps we should nerf this ability, or maybe it should scale so that the first, I don't know, 15 or 20 points doesn't give this much percentage, and it's kind of like you have to put a higher amount of points into it. Enchant should be helping your spell damage as well. It shouldn't only be melee, and I feel like it should also get a bit of a buff overall. But definitely this one should help enhance your fire damage with spells somehow. That would be an awesome thing. Hydra should get a huge buff. Everything, like synergy, the way they work, everything. Hydra needs to get a massive buff. Fireball, Meteor, all fine. They each do something different. Fireball is just the first tier talent for leveling. Fireball has a great amount of damage and great AoE, and Meteor is great for that really high end damage. This even works for like close up melee and whatnot. Inferno, again, I feel like it's just a leveling ability. It shouldn't be good, but perhaps it could get a little buff to make leveling better. Blaze, it's actually a very cool ability. I just can't see how this could work. So in Diablo 3 we have boots that also does this sort of effect here, and it's just never really been good to use. Firewall should get a huge buff, a lot more damage, especially the the damage over time should be fast, because it's like a wall of fire. Like if mobs enter the wall of fire, they should just roast completely. But if they exit out of the fire fast, uh, then they shouldn't die too fast, if you get what I'm saying. So yeah, that was it for the sorceress pretty much. A lot to cover, but I want to kind of just start it off with that one. Next up is the Paladin. So everyone had probably played a Paladin just for Hammer alone, but I feel like Hammer is actually not that overpowered. It's more all about the Smiter and Seal builds, for me at least. So let's start with the combat tree first. Smite, I feel like this is a 1.1 again that is a little too strong. I mean, you are able to do any content in the game by not putting any points into the skill at all than 1. This sort of just, it's a stupid thing. I know Smite is not the ability that's doing damage, it's all the crushing blow and whatnot, but yeah, it's just a really crazy skill, especially for PvP, because it can't miss. Can it even be blocked? I can't quite remember, but yeah, feel free to correct me. Charge. This is more PvP ability, and that's fine. I don't really want to change this one. I guess it could be nice for PvM if it did AoE damage. So like if you charge a mob, every mob uh, from the target that you hit gets AoE damage. Would be fun. Holy Shield, this one should definitely be nerfed. The duration, defense, bonus, successful blocking, everything should come down. Even the duration, I feel like it's such a nice thing to just put on. 10 minutes at last, awesome. Defense bonus, it's just way too strong. It gives so much defense. It just makes the Paladin a little too strong, especially if you're stacking defense items. So the value of defense items matters a lot. So like this one gives 350 defense. Not really, it gives me like 3000 defense. So yeah, it's a bit silly, like 300 defense is 3000 defense. I'm also using Defiance Aura obviously, but like I can take this one out. Oh, now I need my healer second room, just a second here. I really want to highlight this, just how overpowered this really is. So as you can see, even with no Defiance Aura, it still gives a huge amount of armor. Okay, so that was it for the Holy Shield. I should also mention quickly blocking. Blocking is fine. It should give a huge amount of blocking, but I feel like the defense and duration is maybe a little too long. I don't know about the smite damage. That's probably fine enough. But the blocking is okay. It should give a large amount to plus block. Holy Bolt. I also want to highlight Fist of Heaven. Those two abilities should get a huge buff. Fist of Heaven is only good for PvP. Like Feast of Heaven should be Hammer, but like you target them up, and then Holy Bolt should be either a support skill that heals other party members a huge amount, like a lot of health, like I don't know, 500 or 800 or I don't know, something crazy like that. So they actually get a healing role or a true support role in the game than just auras. That would be nice. And obviously it should do a lot of damage against undeads. I feel like it's a nice ability for undeads. Feast of Heaven should make a huge explosion of bolts that just rains down on your target when you click on a mob. Everything within like 10 yards gets hit for a lot of damage. Blessed Hammer should be like it is now. It should just somehow get nerfed in the way that it should get another what's it called, it shouldn't be magic damage, so it should be something else, just because sorceresses and whatnot have to deal with immunes. There are almost no magic immunes in the game, so perhaps make it something else than magic damage. That would be a nice balance for it. Sacrifice and seal. This one is totally fine for the living, no worries there. Seal should hit like 8 targets for a lot more yards. It's just do more AoE damage. The damage is there, it's fine. With all the crushing blow and whatnot, it's fine, but it should definitely hit more. I also feel like it should be nerfed. The mana cost is way too low. Like, I don't even need mana steal or redemption aura on a paladin, just because it only costs 2 mana, which is nothing. Like compare this to a Whirlwind of Orion. The Whirlwinds cost 30 mana, which is a huge amount compared to 2. So yeah, Seal should cost more mana but do more AoE. I'm not quite sure how to change the conversion and vengeance, but that's I think I will skip these two. I don't know enough about these two builds to kind of give my insight to them, so I will skip what I don't want to, don't know too much about. Conviction, fine, fine. It should be a good undead aura, fine. Fonts should just be buffed. Overall, fonts should be made a lot better. So stuff like Bramble, Runeward and whatnot, it doesn't work. Fonts is terrible in this game. Make it a lot stronger somehow. Holy Fire, Holy Freeze, and Holy Shock, they're all very fun because they give the +5 extra max resistance and whatnot. They should probably just do a lot more damage, and then they should have abilities like, I don't know, Fire should maybe give some sort of crazy eruption damage sometimes, randomly AoE for more damage. Holy Shocks perhaps I don't know, slow down your target with paralyze, like stun them or something fun like that, and overall more damage as well. Maybe not a lot of damage, but something. Fanatism is totally fine. Awesome aura. It's probably a little too overpowered with having both damage, attack speed, and attack rating. Especially the attack rating is very strong. So as you can see here, the attack rating is very high for this one aura, but I will leave it at that. Up to yourself if you feel like it should be enough. Concentration should probably just still stay the aura for Hammer Paladins. I feel like it's a little too strong for Hammer as well, just because it gives the an uninterruptible and whatnot. It's very strong for Hammer alone. Blessed Aim should give way more attack rating, and it should be somehow, you know, an aura you sometimes maybe want to use over Fanatism for bosses. So you would use this one on bosses for attack rating on and stuff like that. Might aura's fine, it's just for leveling. And I was actually saying that the +5 comes from Holy Fire and obviously doesn't. So the +5 comes from resist and lightning here. This is fine, always fun to have, you know, if you're out there doing leveling and you're doing, I don't know, something that requires high amount of lightning or cold or fire, you just use one of these auras. Fun stuff. Salvation should definitely be nerfed. Nerf this one to hell. Getting this much resistance out of a single skiller, well, minus +6, is just too strong. Salvation aura needs to be halved. Like this one should only give +40 resistance or something like that. That's just my opinion. This would also make these skillers maybe a little more fun. So like if I was only gonna do Ubers, maybe I would just get Punch into resist lightning and not Salvation. But yeah, that's just me. Salvation is too strong for the point wonder. Defiance should, I don't know if it should be nerfed, but it's probably good for PvP, but it is a lot of defense, and it gives a lot of defense and synergize with Defiance as well. Maybe nerf it a bit. Vigor should probably give more run speed. The rest is fine. The radius is good and everything. Like the radius is important for rogue play and whatnot. I just feel like it should run a little faster. Like compare this to the Assassin's Burst of Speed or something like that. Redemption should be nerfed like hell. This is again one of those overpowered 1-point wonder like Salvation. Too strong. Just nerf it. It's fine enough. The radius, I will say though, you shouldn't nerf the radius. The radius is probably a little too small actually. I do believe that if you have a corpse that died far away on your screen, you should be able to get the mana from it always. Prayers should be hugely buffed. This should give like I don't know, 100 health per second or something like that. It should be very good at least. Okay, maybe not 100 health per second, but definitely buff it. Cleansing, this one should just work instantly, a lot faster in curing everything. This should be able to cure everything, like frozen, poison, everything. Like damn, it should even cure stamina. Cleansing needs to be made a lot better. Meditation should obviously recover mana a lot faster than it is right now. It's just not really that good, even if it has synergized. And it should also be worth using, because right now Redemption is never really it's always going to be better than meditation, and that's why nobody really uses this aura. But yeah, that was pretty much it for the Paladin. So let's see about the next one. So, final words for the Balance Part 1. Before the video gets too long, I want to end it with just two classes. So there are plenty of classes that I could go over, but each of them does take about a minute to go through all the skill trees, and that is why I just wanted to do, for now, the Sorceress and the Paladin, which most people probably, have opinions about or at least played before. So, some final words. There's also a lot of ways that you should balance gear, but that is a very complicated topic because gear really is hard to get right, because some of the gear is completely overpowered. So stuff like uh, Gulliam's helm, um, delaying hands, the ones that have a lot of percent to demon. Ravenfrost is probably a little overpowered as well. I feel like perhaps the High Lord's Amulet is also very overpowered. Basically, there are a lot of underpowered but kind of cool items in the game. Like one example, um, Harmony. Wouldn't it be a lot of fun if Harmony would actually be a useful bow compared to, say, Faith? Wind Force is not even that strong if you compare it to Faith. Made guides for that before, but basically I'm starting to like this setup that I'm running right now with, well, I could see here. But also another thing I want to mention real fast is that we should probably also nerf teleport. I think it's time to nerf teleport. Um, Teleport on sorceresses should probably cost more mana. I feel like that it should actually maybe cost more mana the more points you put into it or something like that, just to make plus skillers be sort of a bad thing for teleport as a sorceress. Another thing I also think is that maybe we should buff faster cast rate breakpoints on certain classes. So like the Amazon is really hard to get good breakpoints on for faster cast rate, so they can utilize an Enigma. But other classes have it pretty damn easy for teleporting. Like most classes can probably get a good switch, but like uh, a Barbarian that has a dual wield of Wizard Spikes, that is a very strong teleport class just due to a switch, and that is probably a little too good, because you pretty much only have to carry one row of mana as a Barbarian if you have dual Wizard Spikes, and stuff like that is just a little too strong for my opinion. But yeah, I would love to know your thoughts about two classes that I just went over. Do you have like any comments that you maybe want to address? Do you have any gear that you always felt that was completely overpowered and perhaps we should do something about? Because I do believe that some gear is too strong. So again, I mentioned Gulliam's face. I could also mention something like Gore Rider's boots. Um, yeah, there's just really many items that are too strong, and some items just completely destroys any build, so you kind of have to use these few items to make it work. Another really good example of that is Infinity, Fortitude, and Andoriel's Visage. That is such an overused free combination of items on an Infinity Merc. I would love if, say, Life Leech wouldn't be that needed on Merchant, just because that would maybe open up some things. But it's really a complicated thing to go over gear. So if Blizzard was going to balance this game, it's such an old game, I would hardly believe they will bother. But if they were going to, I think I would start with the talent trees. Because if you just nerf the talent trees or above the talent trees, whatever, I feel like that is a little more, what can you say, a safer choice than going around changing gear. Cause if we change gear, our old gear maybe becomes, useless, and then we have to spend time and whatnot learning new gear and grinding new gear, finding new gear, whatever, which is a bit annoying. I mean, if you log in right now and you saw all your really good gear is changed, that would probably a bit of a downer. But if you saw that the abilities and skill trees were only changed, I think that would be a little more manageable thing. Just because you can respec nowadays, so it's really handy to have tokens so you can respec. But yeah, I think I want to end it with that. And wow, did you see the spawn point on this one? Pretty great spawn point right at the entrance or the exit even. But yeah, I hope you found this little guide useful. I get the irony of being an armchair developer, you know, some nerd going on the internet saying how the game should be made. I get the irony from that totally. But yeah, as always, have a good one.